trouble brewing in Democrat land. Kamala Harris no longer on speaking terms with Elizabeth Warren and sending Liz straight to voicemail after the senator dodged a 2024 endorsement.
Should Kamala Harris be his choice the second time around?
You know, I really want to defer to what makes Biden comfortable on his team. I've known Kamala for a long time. I like Kamala. We go way back, but they have to be a team, and my sense is they are. I don't mean that by suggesting I think there are any problems. I think they are.
No problems at all that I just bring up. Warren walked back that comment, but Kamala hasn't been able to laugh it off. The senator has reportedly been trying to get a hold of the VP to bury the hatchet. But over a month later, Harris is refusing to budge. But don't worry, Kamala, you'll always have the View to tout your accomplishments.
I think there's some concern about just the lack of policy accomplishments that she's made as vice president.
I'm surprised that there's concern. I think it has a lot to do with this. She's a black woman. Black women get everything done. We've saved this country's democracy for
She's obviously
centuries.
amazing, but what specifically?
But, well...
Like, no, I mean...
Where shall I start? I mean, she was in the Senate, of course.
But no, I mean, as vice president, of course,
she's highly... The Inflation Reduction Act, I mean... She was the face of Roe v. Wade. I mean, the list goes on and on.
That's the best. But the Dem pileup doesn't end there. Joe Biden ticking off the squad at AOC after approving an $8 billion oil drilling project in Alaska. Tlaib tweeting, "This disastrous decision will have devastating consequences on our planet, frontline communities, and wildlife." All right, Dana, a little thought experiment right now. There's a subway, it's late at night, a subway car, just Liz and Kamala. Which one gets out alive?
Well, is it New York City?
Well, that means neither.
Perhaps neither.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
That's
so
true.
one of the things about the Kamala Harris piece is that it's not conservatives who are criticizing her. They don't have to.
Yeah.
This is coming from Democrats. In fact, there was an article yesterday that said there's a lot of Democrats concerned about the piling on against Kamala Harris because what that could mean. So we just sit back and watch all of this, and we learn a little bit more about what the Democrats think of her. And they are concerned. 80% of Democrats don't want Biden to run again. And they're concerned that the conversation is going to turn to, well, if people are concerned about him not running again, and they talk about his age, and then you talk about the inevitable, which is if she were to take over, does this become a contest in 2024 between a Kamala Harris candidacy, in theory, and whoever the Republican nominee is? That's a concern. I have some advice I would like to impart.
That's what makes this show so great.
Yes. So when somebody has insulted you,
yes,
and they get called out on it, and they apologize in public, and then they try to call you, I have what I call the 3-call practice rule. The first call, you send a voicemail. The second call, you ask your assistant to take a message. And the third call, you take. And on that call is where your political instincts should kick in. That might not happen here, but let's say the third call, you take the call, and then you get leverage, and you use it to your advantage, and you get Warren to do something that you need her to do, or that you want her to do, whatever that might be. You could say, I need you to go and do this fundraiser for me. I need you to take over the border because I'm not actually doing that.
Pick up my laundry.
You actually need something to happen. Yes, you could ask her to do anything, but so that's my rule. Anybody, if you get dissed and they call you, wait 3 times. On the third call, take the call.
That's right. What if they call you right before the 5, though? Then it starts over, right? It goes back to 0?
No, I think you could call and say, no, that's a great one, because then you could say, sorry, I missed your call. I was on a live show called The 5.
Yes.
It's very popular. You might have heard of it.
Yes, that drives me crazy. Jesse, are you mad that bury the hatchet's already been used today and you can't use it on your show?
I already used it last week. So I like what Dana's thinking with the emotional blackmail, the silent treatment.
Yep.
But do you really need Kamala talking to you? I mean, if Kamala gives you the silent treatment, so what?
Fair.
It's not like she has a ton of leverage. And what is she going to use Liz Warren for? I don't know if Liz Warren is that useful of a person. Now, if I were Kamala, I would be upset that she said that as an emotionally attuned man. If someone said, basically, you're done, then I don't know if I would take that person's call. I might never pick up on the third ring.
Okay.
So, but that doesn't matter because Liz Warren is not as influential as people think. She's unnecessary. What you need are donors to love you. And you're right, because it's the age factor for Biden and the Kamala competence factor is the same thing. And if you talk about one, you're talking about the other and vice versa. So that's the Democrats' problem. And if The View is blindly following Kamala, that tells you something. She could not spontaneously name a single accomplishment. She started rattling off titles that she'd held 10, 20 years ago. And then she started naming things that Joe Biden signed that Kamala had nothing to do with. That is the best defense they have for Kamala Harris right now, and that's a problem. But right now we're in this awkward stage where Joe hasn't announced, and you've seen like this momentum start building about them trying to gently pull Kamala off the ticket. And then now you're seeing pushback from women and black women especially about don't you dare pull my black woman off the ticket. And that's really where we are right now. And I think it's the donors' next move. They're up.
Jessica, is it time for the peace pipe? Terrible.
That was really terrible.
Yes.
But it is your Monday, so
Yes.
I understand. I love this. I think that this shows that Kamala Harris has a backbone and that she has some of that sassiness that existed throughout her career, why people liked her in the hearings when Bill Barr was testifying to get confirmed as Attorney General, the sparring. She has vibe right now. And she hasn't had vibe this entire time. People have just been attacking her, saying, what's she doing? She's, the czarina of the border. She's never down there, right? She was the face of the Roe v. Wade conversation. What does that really mean? I actually think that meant a lot, but I can understand how people would sit there and say, well, it's not her name on any of this, which is frankly a problem that all vice presidents face, right? Joe Biden has, looking back at his 8 years as vice president, one thing that I would say was really Joe Biden's, and that was getting gay marriage passed. But otherwise, and that was into his second term. That was 2015 when that happened.
After 50 years of being against it, but that's okay.
He had an epiphany in high school. I don't want to talk about it.
That's a lie, but it's okay.
So I think that this is actually good for her because it sends a signal out into the public that she's not just going to be walked all over. And she's certainly not going to be walked all over by somebody who wanted the job that she ended up getting. And when Elizabeth Warren says, I didn't mean to say that, this woman eviscerated Mike Bloomberg, ruined his presidential campaign, I think, in 43 seconds. Elizabeth Warren does not misspeak. And that doesn't mean that I think that Kamala Harris is God's gift to the vice presidency, but it means that she knew what she was doing and that Kamala knows what she's doing. I agree with you, take the third call, because there is something about the caucus of female Democrats from the Senate. They have a thing together, and I think that it's important to hold that up and to have the support. But I like that she showed that she wasn't going to be pushed around.
By just not returning her call?
That's
That's a low
really?
bar for achievement.
It's the lead story. Everyone is talking about it. They're talking about it across all of the networks.
A harder comeback would have been something like, well, I'm real Indian and she's not.
Yeah. Perfect.
She's half Indian.
Different kind of Indian. And
It doesn't matter. That was, gotta let Jesse have his clever moment. That was
Sorry.
good. That was good. Emily, I think if we were going to summarize what Jessica said, it would be that Kamala hasn't expressed any value beyond her identity. Isn't that what you were trying to say?
Yeah.
it absolutely isn't, but I'm going to let it slide. Because
Perfect paraphrase.
But she hasn't been able to get beyond why she was chosen.
That's exactly right. And remember, after she assumed the vice presidency, I think within a year, there was sort of an assembly gathered of Democratic strategists and people who had worked with her that they were trying to craft a counter narrative to the fact that she was being eviscerated, rightly so, in the media for not having accomplished anything. And one of the top strategists said, look, she has more experience in elected office than several past presidents and vice presidents. She said she's being held to an unreasonable standard. If that were true, if she's so experienced, why is there nothing to show for it? Why was it simply the box that was checked that got her to where she's been? Because no one can cite any accomplishments or achievements from being a DA or an attorney general or a senator. I've literally managed performance enhancement plans for federal attorneys and federal employees where they did less than she has. And she's being lauded. She's been called the face of Roe v. Wade. She's absolutely failed in everything that she's been assigned to. And I have to say, I think that part of that narrative that you're crafting, I love the idea, but I think it's part of a false interpretation of it. I remember her questions, for example, when just before Director Pompeo of the CIA, when he was going through his nomination process, her questions were absurd. That pit bull association with a prosecutor, to me, there was no substance. It was that knee-jerk sort of grudge that we're having, because to me, forgiveness is divine. I would rather have a graceful vice president that has some intellectual substance than one that simply shuts off do not disturb and expects me to respect her for it.
Well, I think I just feel bad that I didn't come up with that joke.
Oh, I stole it from Corolla.
Oh, damn you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.